Hi friends from around the world. Let's face it, the patents and the software, that is always a long-standing issue in Europe as well at the EPO. You know that according to Article 52.2 of the European Patent Convention, computer software is not eligible for patent. Whereas the patents are eligible for whatever technology it is, right? There are some exceptions like abstract ones and human, genetic, etc. That is not possible. But in whatever technology it is possible. And what is technology without software today? Well, it is probably nothing. Software is all around. So here where is the silver line? Computer software is out as patentability and as an abstract code, so to say. So that is out, and the technology is not existent without software. So what is the silver line here? That is about what we want to talk today. Let's go over what is a patent very quickly. You know is first, novelty. It must be new with regard to prior art, first condition. Second condition, it must be industrially applicable. It must have an industrial application. And the third is about the inventive step. Now, I want to focus here on the computer software. So let's go directly the novelty and industry application. Well, we see that can be for any software that can happen. But what is about the inventive step? With regard to software and with regard to everything else, the examiner will make a two-hurdle approach, two-hurdle step, two-hurdle assessment. The first hurdle would be the patent eligibility. So you know that there is mixed patents. Mixed patents have a technical feature and non-technical feature, right? And mixed patents are eligible for patents if they have a technical feature. So the technical feature have to be identified in order to go over this hurdle of patent eligibility. If there is no technical feature, there's no patent to be done, and that is not necessary to look at the inventive step. You're with me so far? So, mixed, there might be a technical one or a mixed one. If it is a mixed one, it is okay. And if you put computer in your claim or also computer software in your claim, it does not harm the application, the filing. So you may put it. So the claim is still okay with computer in it. Now let's come to the next one, the inventive step. The inventive step is with regard to prior art, right? What would the examiner do? Well, the examiner would take all the features, the technical and non-technical features of your patent filing, and would compare it to the prior art. Then it would consider the differences, right? And the difference only with regard to technical features. The non-technical features are out. They do not count. And this is the so-called COMVIK approach here on the screen, ruling from the EPO in 2002, which since then has been applied all over. COMVIK approach is to separate the technical features and the non-technical features and to focus only on the technical features with regard to what would be the inventive step, and the inventive step with regard to the closest prior art, right? Whether there's an inventive step. So that is it about so to say the patents, and how would the examiner look at patents which imply software. And that COMVIK approach was made on the computer simulated implementation. So far, so good. Now let's come to the case. It is a case from the enlarged board of the EPO. So just as the other big players in the litigation in IP in Europe, so the European Court of Justice, the General Court, EU IPO Boards of Appeal, and the Board of Appeal of the EPO, they have a kind of big chamber which is reserved for taking decisions of, important ones, which should make some impact on the jurisdiction of the of what it is about. In this case, about patents. So if there are there are more than one board normally, or more than one chamber if it is one of the General Court or the European Court of Justice. So they may have one board has, or one chamber has one type of ruling and the other has another type of ruling, and then they see, well, there's a difference between one and the other and we don't want this, so let's agree on one approach only, and we seize the big chamber, the general chamber, the great chamber, or the enlarged board. In the case of the EPO, it is the enlarged board, which make then a ruling or a guidance or whatever it is, and all the other boards, they will follow through in the future. So this was the case here. It is the case on the screen, which is described as pedestrian simulation. And what is this case about? Well, it is an important case which has been long awaited with regard to once it has been submitted to the enlarged board, and expected what would be the outcome. Now, it is about a pedestrian movement in an environment such as, a concert or a railroad station, and the movement, what individual persons would do within that environment. There were some kind of simulation in as a prior art. There was a macro, how would a crowd behave, and this was here, how would individuals behave in such an environment. And then this would be used afterwards for designing the building in a way so that the pedestrian moves, the individual movements would fit into the design without bottlenecks or whatever. I don't know exactly. It is about to having the design in confluence, in line with what would be the predicted movement of the individuals. So that was the case. Now, this was about simulation, right? Pedestrian simulation. And simulation is something different than implementation. The COMVIK approach, as I told you before, was on implementation, and now it is about simulation. And the simulation and the technical feature, that was the question which has been posed to the enlarged board of EPO. How can a simulation have a kind of technical feature with regard to what is the outcome, or what is the result, the end result? Or is it something which is within the computer, and just so it is within the environment of that computer, and that would have a non-technical feature? So what would be the outcome of that case? And the enlarged Board of Appeal, well, they said in reality they said it's the wrong question. A simulation can have an effect if they have a technical feature behind. So if something is being determined as an industrial application within outside the computer, which is beyond the computer, so to say. So it is in fact not any different than the implementation. It depends. So it depends whether there's a technical effect, a technical feature which comes out, and then it is naturally the inventive step is possible, or it is not, and then the inventive step is so to say out. Meaning that the enlarged Board of Appeal, they said, well, the approach is the same. As in COMVIK, you have a mixed invention. You have technical features and non-technical features. You do then the comparison with the prior art, and you take into account only those features which are technical, and then you come to a conclusion. So simulation or implementation are the same. That is, so to say, the outcome of the enlarged Board of Appeal decision. Well, it was a bit more complicated because there was, the enlarged the Board of Appeal, the technical Board of Appeal, which seized the enlarged Board of Appeal. They thought, well, there were some previous judgments which point in a different line, that simulation cannot have a technical feature or whatever. So it was a bit more complicated, but the essence and the outcome and the result and the takeaway for us here is that the COMVIK approach is the one which determines computer implemented simulations and computer implemented implementations. Computer simulated implementations, that is the right word. Okay. So what does that mean? Nothing changed very much. Well, it is what we know now. It is about the technical features, and we need to, in all claims, to stress the technical features. If we have a software, we need to focus on what is the result, the technical result, the technical process which is being solved through the software. And through this, we get protection for the software beside the Article 52.2, which says computer software is not applicable. There is also a question what happens, what is the importance, for example, with regard to artificial intelligence. And there is so to say, the training of an autonomous vehicle control system through reinforcement learning in a simulated driving environment. That might be considered a technical purpose, right? But what about a similar training regime applied to a model for predicting driver risk in determining an insurance premium? Would this also be a technical purpose, or is that now a non-technical purpose without what we cannot have a patent on that one? So that is, so to say, for the art of artificial intelligence, where simulation is very, very important. We need to see and to look and to stress in every claim the technical feature, the technical result of what it is. Now, if it is like always, right? If the computer software performs a technical task, a non-technical task, it cannot be patented at the EPO, right? But if it achieves a technical effect, so to say, it solves a technical problem, and that's where we have to put our stress on it in the claim, it is a non-obvious manner. It is patentable. In other words, inventive step cannot be based on non-technical delta between the invention and the prior art. Instead, it's only a technical contribution that is looked at. The technical contribution, that is the exact point where we need to stress with regard to computer software. So, computer software and patent, yes, it is possible.